Hello, Internet. My name is Chamomile.
Oh, what can ail thee, podcaster at arms, alone and palely loitering? The sedge has withered from the lake, and no birds sing. Oh, what can ail thee, podcaster at arms, so haggard and so woe-begone? The squirrel's granary is full, and the harvest done. I see a lily on thy brow, with anguish moist and fever dew, and on thy cheeks a fading rose fast withereth too.
He's Requiem. Just in case
Yep.
this is someone's first episode. This is the first episode of Pathfinder Kingmaker, the game we are playing. I briefly went over the settings to make sure I had turn-based mode turned on, which I did, so I didn't need to do that. Yeah. We are going to be playing turn-based mode, not necessarily because it's the best mode or anything, but just because it's easier for me to comment when...
I have heard it works better turn-based, like, you know, the mechanics were designed for turn-based, so having tried to do them as the sort of isometric real-time, I've heard is difficult.
Alright, we definitely need to create a new character because we know exactly who we're making.
Oh, yes.
Not necessarily be able to represent them very well, but I mean, I think you got a front runner for a portrait, though.
This is
a little bit thick, but
yeah. I think there might be a
that one might
redheaded. I think there might be if you scroll down a little bit. I think there's one more portrait. Click that one on the bottom.
Oh, hey.
That's a little. That's probably the closest we could get.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be one of these two. And, I mean, you know, this one isn't totally inaccurate, but...
That's a direction she could have gone.
Yes. So part of the reason why we picked out Kingmaker is because I ran Kingmaker through the first 4.5 books, at least, until the group fell apart, as D&D groups are wont to do. And played that game as a Fey sorceress, strictly speaking, named Selwyn. So we are going to be recreating her for our PC.
Yes.
It's definitely going to be a very approximate recreation. You know, we used a lot of... You know, I forget what even exactly went into which characters, but there was a little bit of homebrew stuff. There was some stuff imported from, like, 3.5. And there's a bunch of stuff that's, like, strictly speaking, core Pathfinder, or at least official Pathfinder stuff, but it's just not in the game. Not in the video game, so... I think
race was
as good as we're getting.
Race was a Naiad, which is a race you can play.
Yeah, it is an official race, but it is not in Kingmaker, so we're probably going with Elf. Which one do you want to go with? Because she was.
I say the redhead.
Redhead, this one? Alright.
Yeah. The other one's a little too formal. Selwyn was, of course, lawful good, but...
They do have Asimar, which...
I hate the giant ears on the Pathfinder elves. It's way too much. But I think... So what is it? What bonuses does ASMR give you?
Resistance to every type of energy except for fire, which is the one that always comes up. You can have a +2 saving bonus against becoming blinded or dazzled when you manifest a halo. And whatever the hell this is. Elves do get bonuses to dexterity and intelligence. If we're going for a proper sorcerer, then that actually has no impact on us one way or the other. I mean, I guess a little bit of extra AC is always nice, but they also get a penalty to Constitution, so that's kind of a wash. Their color is obviously red. Yeah, that's a little bit more reddish. the tip of my cursor is slightly off from where it's supposed to be according to the graphic. That is a little bit annoying, but shouldn't come up too often. We're playing turn-based, so being able to...
Yeah.
Alright, so which one of these are we feeling here?
Not the bizarre ponytail.
That thing?
Yeah. Probably the long one. That one. That's probably the...
And then I'm thinking we're going with this default body type.
Yeah, I think that's fine.
One, but yeah. I like how you can choose handedness. I doubt it's coming up, but... Class. They do have a couple of weird ones, which is neat. Yes. Selwyn is canonically a sorcerer.
Her bloodline was actually verdant, but they don't have that, so I think we were going to go with Sylvan.
Your ties to nature have more to do with creatures than with capriciousness. Okay, so where's the more to do with capriciousness than creatures option?
My understanding is that Sylvan Sorcerer in this is one of the better choices.
That's convenient.
Also, I don't know why you're describing Selwyn as capricious. That she's lawful good. She was lawful good.
So, this is going to be the Zeke was a mummy for this game?
Yes. I mean, no. I mean, maybe. Selwyn was lawful good.
Alright, I don't think there's any actual... I'm trying to make sure I don't accidentally skip anything, and...
Oh, did you do ASMR?
Which, yeah, ASMR is, I think, more optimal for what we're going for.
Alright.
So, I mean, we can back up and do Elf if you want. I don't think it's going to...
No, I just... it's probably the Idlekin might end up getting you a charisma bonus. So Idlekin is going to be better, and that's a Gathian. And I guess there's also the Azada. See what the Muse Touch gives you, because that's, Azada are basically Fae. That's pretty good.
Dexterity and charisma.
And Glitter Dust. I think that's probably...
Oh, and we get a fucking animal companion.
Yeah,
which one of these
so what...
best represents Mug Thwumpy, the Pug Wumpy. Grouchy little gremlin guy.
None of them really seem like a gremlin.
Yeah.
I'm surprised there's not a horse, because what we could have done is get in the horse and have it be a Leonora.
Could have, yeah.
Giant Centipede doesn't seem like Selwyn's style.
Does not, although I can kind of see that as being like Mug Thwumpy's mortal form. And like she's kind of stuck with him because he's the only one who's still with her after... The idea is... okay, first thing we have to lay down. There's no such thing as the First World. It's called the Feywild. But the First World was a dumb name.
And do we want to talk about how stupid that name is, or do we want to save it for later?
No. Let's put a pin in that for now. I just need to establish that so that I can say that Selwyn's backstory is that she was exiled from the Feywild because she was obsessed with the mortal world, and this rubbed the other Fey wrong until eventually they, or one of them at least, banished her to the mortal world. And sort of like, if you love them so much, then go bother them about it. And Mug Thwumpy the Pug Wumpy was her only friend at first. She was a sort of a summoner build, which we are almost certainly not going to be able to recreate here. But, so she had a bunch of Fey friends that she could summon in battle, and she got more as she leveled up. Mug Thwumpy was the one who went with her immediately, and then she had a couple of others who arrived almost immediately, and then after that there were a bunch more who were sort of like drawn to her banner as she made a name for herself and carved out a kingdom.
I feel like an elk's pretty Fey to have, though. I guess that could be a Leonora. I guess, no, it couldn't be a Leonora, because do female elk have antlers?
I mean, female unicorns do.
That's true. Giant centipede could be Mugwumpy. Is there a lion? I guess the leopard could be Catchy.
Close enough.
That could be Catchy.
Yeah, none of these can be the Twink Love Triangle, for starters, because there's only one of them. Which is too bad.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
Because they were sort of the heart of the Fae Friends, were the three Twinks in a love triangle.
That is how Chamomile learned what the word twink meant in a non-D&D context.
There's a moment in that game you mentioned where I had used it in the term of like twinking out a character, as in, making them as powerful as possible. That apparently caused you a chuckle.
Yeah, you described Sullivan as twinked out, and I was like, yeah, she is.
I had forgotten the exact context. Yeah. I'm going to go ahead and go with Elk, just because we're spending too much time on the screen.
So obviously maxing Charisma is always priority 1. You always got to max your spellcasting score if you're a full spellcaster.
Yep, we are single attribute dependent, so... What else do we want? A little bit of wisdom never did anyone any harm. Shut up, it didn't. We don't need any strength. Let's get as many ability points out of that as we can. Dex is good for armor class. There's just 1 for 1. Oh no, it does eventually get 2 for 1. Some more HP is neat. Yeah, I think that spread works out reasonably well.
Now
I'm going entirely off of my knowledge of Pathfinder here, which honestly, once Charisma is maxed out, then...
doesn't super matter.
Yeah. Alright, now this is not the Pathfinder skill list. This is considerably cut down, which is good, because the Pathfinder skill list was hideously bloated. It was slightly reduced from the 3.5 skill list, and since we are going to say a lot of very mean things about Pathfinder in this playthrough, spoiler alert, I will start out by saying something at least slightly nice, which is that the Pathfinder skill list is a little bit better than the skill list they were working with, which was the 3.5 skill list. And they did have to try and maintain as much backwards compatibility with 3.5 as possible, so they couldn't change the skill list too much, or else it would become unrecognizable, which would make it impossible to use 3.5 monsters, which by the end of Pathfinder's lifespan, first edition's lifespan, which is now, doesn't really matter anymore. They have tons and tons of their own bestiaries, but at the time, it was very important that they be crossover compatible with 3.5.
Well, one thing...
Persuasion, obviously.
Well, one thing Pathfinder did well was... One thing Pathfinder did really well, they had produced a ton of monsters, like, compared to, like, 3rd edition. There was a enormous amount of monsters, even though there were a lot of duds. Like, they just had such a high volume that they did get a lot of hits.
Is there a way to give someone negative ranks in Knowledge World?
How dare you?
That's her whole character, is that she doesn't have a goddamn clue how the mortal world works. She thinks of it as this, wonderful place full of, drama and epic stories, and then she comes here and she finds people dying for no reason all the time. And she has a character arc.
I don't know which skills are going to matter within...
Neither do I. I mean, use magic device in the context of Pathfinder is always helpful because it lets you break the system over your knee, but that's not quite true. But it is easily one of the most overpowered skills. That said, I'm going to go with Knowledge Arcana just because I do feel like Sullivan should have an understanding of magic. And also, use magic device operates off of Charisma, which means Sullivan is surprisingly good at it automatically.
I like to imagine she literally talks to the magic devices.
And this plus 11 persuasion we're starting with, that's not because they rebalanced the skill ranks at all. I don't know what the balance of the actual skill challenges are, but that is just a regular level 1 plus 11 Pathfinder thing, just from having plus 5 charisma, a class skill, and a plus 2 racial bonus plus 1 rank in it. So, yeah, that's min-maxing accomplished. I sure hope persuasion comes up a lot.
Yeah, Selwyn in the game was very min-max for diplomacy. I don't think we need point-blank shot.
I mean, we either don't need it or we really need it. School of Magic. We do have the respec mod installed, so I am actually just going to go ahead and give her a spell focus in illusion on the grounds that that seems like something she would have.
Yeah.
And if we have to respec later on, we will. Although, you know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, let's make that a spell focus in enchantment. No, illusion has color spray. What am I thinking? Like, for a brief second, I was thinking, but, you know, is illusion really going to be all that helpful in a video game? And then I remembered, oh yeah, the level 1 Doom spell is an illusion spell, so that's perfect.
Color spray, of course.
Yeah, I mean, I was checking to see if color spray was available. But yeah, I do think we are going to be just the color spray sorcerer for the first level of this game. Okay, choose spells. Color spray, obviously.
Do we not have Charm Person? They get rid of that?
It appears not.
That's too bad.
They do have sleep, though. Color spray and sleep are both will negates, though.
Yeah, do we want to blast?
I'm not sure if we have any blast at this level. Sphere is single target. I mean, Burning Hands is strictly speaking a blast, but one creature personal.
Should we get Mage Armor?
Hypnotism might be a good idea. It affects a wide area. Yeah, we don't have a whole lot of wide area stuff right now.
Yeah.
There's a player in one of my Pathfinder games who uses snowballs for like everything. He's like level 7 or 8 now, and so, you know, he just tosses out snowballs like nothing. It's a level 1 spell. What does he care? Oh, hey, we have Summon Monster.
What can we summon, though?
An extraplanar dog.
Is that even...
I mean, once again, I don't want to spend too much time on this screen, and we do have respec installed, so unless, like, literally the first encounter kills us.
Right, so what voice? Carefree seems...
A test of my abilities.
Quick, quick! Else we miss all the fun!
Hold on. Just a little more. Strike with all your might!
I feel faint. I won't take that.
Enemy approaching!
With grace? Hesitation is a waste of time. Hey, have a look! Careful now.
It's got to be either carefree or cunning, and I'm feeling carefree more.
This hurts
so
much.
Okay, birthday. What? I don't care which of your fucking made-up months I was born in. Why do you do this?
Yeah, I have no idea what that is supposed to be.
Okay, well, we're just going to go on the 7th day of the 7th month, Selwyn was born to 7 parents.
Right. Now, Selwyn's alignment. Which I guess we're going to fight about.
I mean...
alignment is dumb.
Yeah, I mean, it is absolutely stupid. I'm going to go with chaotic neutral because I think that'll give us a lot of options for people we want to be friends with. assuming that's what alignment is used for. I don't know. I didn't use alignment in my version of Kingmaker because alignment is stupid. So I scrub it from every Pathfinder game I run.
Yeah,
if
he's
it
taking
determines
chaotic.
how people think of us at first, then I'm hoping it will mean that chaotic evil and chaotic good and neutral people will all be on board with us. Lawful people will hate us, but fuck them. Lawful people tend to be no fun.
Yeah.
Now, I do want to stay here. Alignment is bullshit. Being lawful means nothing, and so fun people could totally be lawful without contradicting the definition of the alignment. However, when people are writing lawful characters, they tend to make them no fun. So, the lawful alignment does not have to be no fun. I am guessing that it will be no fun in practice.
Away, you rascal!
Pathfinder specifically has a weird hatred of lawful good characters.
I mean, unless they're Yomade, apparently.
Right.
I am pleased to note that I recognize a whole lot of these stats here, cautiously optimistic that my own understanding of Pathfinder might help me twink this character out, ha ha ha. Because I've actually never played this game to completion, and indeed have never gotten particularly far in it. It's just one of those games I never got around to, particularly since when I got it, I was actually running it at the same time, so I was a little bit Kingmakered out.
Now, should we explain to our audience of D&D nerds what a twink is? Or should we wait for that to come up naturally within the game?
Let them figure it out.
What you all need to do is go Google twink and then hit Google image search with safe search off.
By the promise of a most dangerous task and a commensurately
It'll be
huge
totally
Nothing
fine.
bad will happen.
heroes of all
Yeah, no,
stripes
do it from
gather
work.
here.
In fact, invite your boss to come and watch.
Where are they? This is taking forever. Didn't even say what this was for. Just at the Aldori, we're looking for heroes. Who are the Aldori anyway? Rich folk?
The hell are you doing here?
If you can't be patient, no one's keeping you here. Just
That
go back
gnome's
to your
eyebrow
mountains or
game.
whatever hole you crawled out of. The Aldori sword lords run the premier school for the
Who does his eyebrows? I want to know.
Most influential group in this part of Brevoy. Take that tone with them, and they'll teach you some manners pretty quickly.
All right, you purple toad, just shut your trap. And if you can't, I'll help you.
I'm not associated with Amiri, am I?
Don't mind me and my elk that I refer to as a unicorn.
I like to imagine that this is like a female elk with just
Greetings,
a
everyone.
unicorn horn strapped on.
Lord Jamante Aldori, and this is Lord Mayor Yosef Selimius of Restov. Welcome to my mansion.
No one has Russian accents. Immersion shattered.
We thank you from the bottom of our hearts for responding to our call.
Oh, he's not important enough to get a portrait.
But that's unavoidable.
Let's try
We
to
need
kill him.
only the best of the first task. And I see true heroes before me, strong and fearless. Exactly what Restov needs.
Man, it's like this guy knew
Thank you,
Sullivan was
Lord
coming
Mayor.
and wanted to
Now,
make sure
to
he
the
tricked
point.
her specifically into
South
taking
of
this
here,
job.
just beyond
On
Brevoy's
that
border,
note,
lies a region
one of the
known
first
as the
changes that I
Stolen
made to
Lands.
when
This
I
is
run
disputed territory, and while it's long been claimed by nearby states,
when I run
it's
any
never been
fantasy
truly
setting,
taken.
I tend
I won't
to
bore you with
run
legal
things
technicalities.
fairly cynically.
Suffice to say that
Sometimes a little
anyone
bit
with
satirically,
courage
sometimes
and
in a
power
more,
to seize the stolen
Game of
lands
Thrones
and name
intrigue
themselves
kind of way.
baron or
It's
baroness,
just like my
claiming
style.
dominion.
Like I realize there's a lot of pretension
None
around that
of the
kind of style
neighboring
lately,
states would be able to
but I
challenge
just
it.
find it difficult to run anything else.
Of course, Rostov would be first.
So
to
the way that I
recognize the
ran Kingmaker,
legitimacy of
though,
this new state,
is that
as well as
the
noble
Sword
title
Lords,
of its
there's all these adventurers all over Golarion. That's the name of the world of Pathfinder, if you're not aware. So there's always adventurers all over
Unfortunately,
Golarion,
one
and
serious obstacle stands
adventurers
between
cause
you
trouble
and this
everywhere they
title.
go.
A gang
Whenever
of
there's not a
bandits
quest to
hold
go on,
sway in the
they start
Stolen
looking for
Lands.
adventure, which
Their
usually
chief,
results in a tavern
who they
burned
call
down
the
and their least
Staglord,
favorite NPCs murdered.
considers himself the rightful owner
So
of this
Brevoy is trying to
land,
get rid of these people
and
as
no one
fast as
has
they can.
yet been able to challenge his
And so what they're
power.
doing is they're offering
Bring
it
me his head,
to
and
basically
you'll be able to
anyone
return to the
who
Stolen
can go and
Lands
kill
as their
this
legal
Stag
ruler.
Lord in
Any
Stag Lord
question?
Bandit King. They will rule the Stolen Lands. And it's not actually because they hate the Stag Lord, like he is their enemy, but they don't actually care that much. He's a minor bandit warlord on their borders. He's not a big deal. They're just hoping that as many adventurers as possible will die out there.
That's a good point. As I see it, this Stag Lord already holds power over the region with confidence. Many noble bloodlines were started
Who the hell
by
is this?
bandits who just got lucky,
I do not
weren't
recognize.
they?
I think they're one of the Pathfinder iconics, like Amiri. I don't recognize
Perhaps
her.
because
but...
we do have standards to maintain. This room has seen many celebrations of adventurers, and even those who just got lucky. But giving a noble title to a bandit lord? And that's one thing.
An
that's
adventurer and a
never
bandit lord are
and
two
it
very
won't
distinct
while I
things.
still breathe.
Totally different.
Yeah, and that a bandit lord presumably runs some kind of organization and must have at least minimal competence in holding a group together. Adventurers do not have this.
I will, of course. I'm the leader of this team, after all. Don't worry, though. I'll make
Do
it
I
worth
know
it.
you?
Why is he Italian?
We haven't yet begun.
Does
You
Golarion
already
have a
speak of
pseudo-Italy?
giving
I guess that would be the
rewards.
River Kingdoms, wouldn't it?
What makes you think we'll even succeed?
I guess, like, a lot of the...
I mean, they're right next to their pseudo-Russia here in Brevoy, which is bizarre, but...
They're Italian themed, but they're also kind of Holy Roman Empire Germany with having so many kingdoms.
It's true. Kind of makes me wonder if someone didn't realize where the Holy Roman Empire was actually located.
Like, the Holy Roman Empire did include a little bit of Italy. I guess, like, I mean, I will say also that you don't have to have, like, you really even shouldn't have, like, one-to-one correspondences, but in general, Golarion is very one-to-one correspondence.
Right, like, you
so
shouldn't
when it's
have
not,
them, but
it's weird.
Galarian does, so...
Don't ask stupid questions. Why should you even care? What they have to gain and why, that's for Lady Aldorian
Like
to discuss.
in Dragon Age, you can kind of point to specific real-world cognates for, like, Ferelden and Tevinter, but they're not exactly one-to-one.
So when do we
But
get to kill Partuccio?
Of course, we stand to
I'm hoping
benefit
soon.
from this enterprise. But if you're concerned that we intend to rule your country from afar, using you as a front, well, please know that
You
these
were
concerns
absolutely
are
correct.
unfounded.
Yeah.
Let's just say that we have a strong interest in the region's
Like-
stability. We have need of a ruling
The level
power
of
we can
unironic
negotiate with,
nobility and
not
generosity from
bandit
these
gangs and
rulers
monster
is...
hordes.
What
Like-
is that smell in the air?
It's perfectly in line
Is it the
with
smell
standard
of
Pathfinder
unspoken
storytelling.
words and political
But
intrigue?
And what reward would you seek beyond a noble title and your own lands?
and
Your
army
hand in
Absorb
marriage.
The costs of preparing and equipping your expedition. Once you return victorious,
Guess we may as well get that running
Restov
gag
will
started as soon as
allocate
possible.
You a significant sum to provide financial support for you to establish your country.
You knew it was coming.
Essentially, will help you build your capital. I hope such a reward is
Now, like-
satisfactory.
Golarion
Make a
is
persuasion check to convince you to give me more, because I have a lot of persuasion.
Golarion is pseudo-medieval, and how is most medieval diplomacy done, Chamomile?
Can't fill my belly
What was
with
that?
pretty words.
Golarion is pseudo-medieval, and how is
Of
most
course,
medieval
there will
diplomacy
also
and
be an
making
official
alliances
banquet
done?
held in your honor. All of Restov's high society will gather to celebrate your
I mean, you're not
feat.
wrong.
Now you're talking.
Excellent.
And as one of the Fae, I am not limited
Now, you can
to
take
husband.
some time to get to know one another better. Or you can head straight to your guest rooms to get some rest. You'll find we've already prepared supplies for you there. And thank you again for agreeing to take part in this expedition. I wish you luck.
So I did end up going with like a bunch of default iconic kind of characters last time I played this, which again was for like an hour a year ago.
Will that true heroes.
I look at you,
O champions of Restov.
I wish I could design my own party here. Like,
do they not let you do that?
So venture forth.
You can at some point hire mercenaries, and I'm forgetting when, because I looked that up. I never did that when I played.
Are we going to hire some mercenaries and have them be the Fae friends?
Probably. I don't see how else we'll get the Twinks.
My name's Lindsay. I'm a bard, though this is my first real adventure. So, shall we go teach this stag lord a lesson? Likewise. Actually, I also wanted to ask you something. How do you feel about this Tartuccio fellow? I think he's pretty obnoxious personally. He appointed himself head of the team, and he's just after the Baron's crown, or whatever it is Barons wear.
Tiaras.
Doesn't matter. I don't like him. I think you should be team leader. When I first saw you, I couldn't help but think, now here's a real hero. Someone who'll be praised in poems and songs. This
person knows how to get on Sullivan's good side.
Yeah, no, you get to stay. The other two have to leave to make room for the Twinks.
I should have led with that. Please, just let me explain. You know what the trouble with most heroes' biographies is? They're always written years later, based on the tales of, best case, people who saw things from the outside. Worst case, someone...
Alright, so here's my backstory. I was born 1,000 years ago in the Feywild. I emerged out of a spring as an adult.
Every time I read about a heroic journey, I think to myself...
I am 90% water, which I guess you're 70% water, but...
And then I thought, I could be that bard. I just needed to
still
find
like
a
the
suitable
image
hero and
of
volunteer to
Selwyn
follow along
was
on that
originally a
glorious
Naiad,
adventure.
mainly just because that was the only
great
race
plan,
that worked
And here
from
we
level
are,
1.
with a heroic
That was
journey
Fae.
lying before us. Who's going to be the hero?
But, you know, her
Some
her
dwarf
token
who
art
keeps
was, you know,
muttering about
she was in
how
like a
we'll all die?
floor-length,
Or maybe that
ankle-length ball
horrific
gown all the
sight
time.
lady? Or
And,
God forbid, Tartuccio.
which led to the image of, like, you know, you get those classical-style paintings. You know, there's those Renaissance-era, Victorian-era style paintings of, you know, the Naiads, you know, tempting the young men from the shore of, you know, just lying in the water. And then there's Selwyn, who just, you know, all her Naiad sisters are doing their whole temptation to drowning thing. And, you know, she floats along, still in the floor-length ballroom gown, trying to do the same thing. It's like a moon moment, and I love it.
Deal. All right. I'm going to my room to write tonight.
Token art I used is a John William Waterhouse pre-Raphaelite painting of Ophelia, and John William Waterhouse did do a couple of paintings of Naiads, and because he used the same models in a lot of his paintings, like the painting of Ophelia, she looks like the Naiads, so it even works in the pre-Raphaelite painting. For those of you who don't know art history, the pre-Raphaelites actually came significantly after Raphael because they wanted to mess with art history students. They're late Victorian.
Help!
What's going on?
Attack. We need to help. Some villains
Do we
broke in
though?
and started killing everyone.
So yeah, the first place where video game Selwyn's journey is going to diverge from tabletop Selwyn's journey is that video game Selwyn is probably just going to be a hero and get exactly the kind of narrative she always dreamed of. This is like pre-character development Selwyn's, you know, personal heaven. Getting exiled is going to be the best thing that ever happened to her. I did do this in real-time combat last time I played, which again, for all of like an hour-ish. Okay, I've got 5 first-level spells because I'm a sorcerer. Perfect.
stand down. You offend me.
I don't want to taunt him. I'm looking for the coup de grace option. Okay, I guess I'm all out of... How do I end my turn? Ah, here it is.
But I guess Eleonora can do something now. Can Eleonora coup him?
I'm not sure that was very Eleonora-ish.
The world is...
Yeah, the thing with part of the thing with Selwyn, the first like couple sessions, I had not figured out even what her character was going to be. We were kind of, the group had decided for like a sort of like, not evil, but like morally ambiguous group, and I was kind of doing like a Morgan Le Fay type, but I had not pinned down exactly what her motivations was, and after the first couple sessions I realized that just evil sorceress was not interesting enough for me to pin a character on, and that's when I came up with like, oh, she just wants the world to be like a story. Because in the Feywild, you know, nobody can die, so stories don't have any meaningful impact. Nothing actually happens matters.
It's basically like a J.J. Abrams film.
Exactly. I believe canonically J.J. Abrams is one of the eldest.
I mean, it wouldn't be the worst eldest concept they have.
It's Pathfinder, so obviously one of them is a S&M goddess.
I can't tell if you're joking.
I'm like borderline. She's an evil, sexy lady who's naked and is like has a whole thing about like seduction.
Okay, so not strictly speaking a dominatrix, but you know, same basic problem.
Your time is over.
She's one of those weird. I think she's one of those weird flower monsters that has like the vor implications.
I mean, a weird flower monster like who was the murder flower in Sullivan's group?
Blossoming Sorrow.
Yeah, like something like that would have been cool. But you know, Blossoming Sorrow has at best a vaguely effeminate shape. I'm pretty sure you're unconscious, man. I don't think you made that save.
Oh man, this guy was evil. I did not see that coming.
We need to make our way to her. And along the way, we'll try to save some of these dummies who are supposed to accompany us to the stolen lands. Speaking of dummies, take this ring. Quiet now, so that little fool doesn't hear us. She might try to steal it herself. It's magical. It'll protect you. You'll need it while you work to defend me.
Yeah, follow Lindsay, right?
I mean, Lindsay is the gnome, or not the gnome, the bard.
We've got two gnomes, because I guess we're going for an all-gnome party. Lindsay is the Leliana of the group.
No time for idling. I wrote it like I saw it.
Enlighten me.
Friendship lasts forever.
Was that Sullivan?
That was Sullivan.
Oh my god. That was... Oh my god. You picked the perfect voice.
Okay, I guess we're going to put on a range for the hell of it. And aha, that's a Ring of Protection. That's actually a really good magic item for level 1. Like right around level 3 or 4 it becomes like totally standard, but...
There was one point in the game where Sullivan had just finished having a conversation with another NPC in Sylvan, so the other PCs didn't know what had been said, and Sullivan says, finishes the conversation, says to the fellow PCs, wonderful news, friends, and without missing a beat, Camille goes, not words you ever want to hear Sullivan say.
And was I wrong? I don't think I was wrong.
Look, Sullivan has never harmed another living creature. She is an epitome of... She's essentially a paladin.
Leave this one to me.
Ah, Cartuccio's even a magic guy. So not only is he annoying and not a twink, he is also mechanically redundant. Okay, where's my... I don't want to use spells, I just want to murder someone. Where's that? Yes, with the crossbow. Okay, there we go.
How else are you gonna murder somebody?
Eleonora, kill!
Color spray is basically the game on easy mode.
I mean, we are also literally on easy mode, in fairness.
I didn't know if you had set the... Color spray is still, like, the best spell of the game.
Oh, yeah. Like, I'm doing this game on easy mode just in case. But, I'm not sure it'll actually be necessary.
You deserve
Like,
it.
we both know D&D pretty well, and...
Stand down.
Stand down, kafunk.
To these unconscious people.
Yeah. Stop resisting. Yeah, no, without her character development, I'm pretty sure this version of Sullivan is just going to be an absolute monster.
It's the end for you rats!
Is that...
Oh, it's the... Yeah.
Okay.
I personally feel like Owlcat Games using the Pathfinder iconics was a mistake rather than just making up all their own characters, because I don't think any of the iconics are that interesting.
Yeah, they're not that interesting, and they're also...
Time to get my hands dirty again.
They're from the other side of the world, which, like, if you're going to... one thing I want to, make clear as I'm saying this, when you're making characters for a tabletop role-playing game. Oh, goddamn, that is not what I meant to do. Oh, well, she's basically immune to it, so it worked out. Yeah, Sullivan, not quite used to the way the mana fields work here in the mortal plane. Just accidentally cast an attack spell on herself, but she resisted the damage, so it was fine. And also, I lost my train of thought from what I was doing before that time.
Iconics.
That's right. So yeah, when you are making a party for like regular Pathfinder, you are inevitably going to have, people from all kinds of bizarre corners of the earth. Which, that's not good, but it's a worthwhile trade-off to let your players play what they want to play. There we
Your
go.
time is over.
Oh, did I accidentally took a dash action there, or whatever Pathfinder calls it.
This is where I step in.
Okay, I'm gonna make this point. So yes, when you are making characters, people want to make what they want to make, and that's gonna give you this weirdly international thing where people are not just from nearby countries, but are from all over the continent, even though they're level 1 schmucks. And it's weird that they have, gathered here. Like, so many people from so far away have all gathered here despite having relatively unimportant lives. But people want to play the concepts they want to play, and so that's a worthwhile trade-off. But when you're making hireling schmucks to be, the lackeys to a player character, that's not a concern, right? You may as well make them all local. And the Pathfinder iconics are not locals. You know, they're very clearly from a bunch of different cultures from all across the continent. Okay. I'm actually not even going to bother reading that tooltip. Requiem, what can you tell us about Gorham? Do you recognize that name?
Oh. Yes, I can. Gorham is one of Pathfinder's uninteresting core deities. He is the god of war. He did have a slightly interesting origin story where he formed out from the blood. He's a half-orc god, and he formed out from the blood of orcs fighting humans. And I thought that was actually kind of interesting, but they retconned that away because it's Galarian, and anytime they stumble onto something interesting, they immediately have to undo it. Also because, you know, you think Amiri's a barbarian from a presumably human tribe of the barbarians. You think the god she worshipped, she would picture it as a human, but for whatever reason in Pathfinder, all gods have like a set race, even though they're not that race. Like there's some sort of outsider spirit. Like,
I don't think I can handle a frost giant at level 1.
Yeah, that's...
So Amiri's dead.
This is going to be part of her plot arc, isn't it? Because she got that sword from a giant.
Oh, did she?
Yeah, she's got some sort of oversized sword, so she's going to kill this giant in a cutscene or something, I bet.
Anything else?
What's up?
Away, you rascal!
Sorcerers being armed with the crossbow is pretty typical, but it still feels kind of weird for Selwyn. Oh well.
Leave this one to me.
Zolan just wouldn't be armed at all.
Stand down.
Excuse me.
That bandit just tried to make a ranged attack right in front of Eleonora. Dumbass.
Leonora's a lot more murdery in this version.
Yeah, no, like, that's not the real Eleonora. It can't be. That is a female elk with, like, a horn strapped to her head. That Selwyn is calling Eleonora. Yeah, Eleonora was primarily a healer.
Our party was we had a witch, a sorcerer, and I don't know if the other guy was some sort of homebrew class or some sort of third-party class, but essentially a fighter type.
Yeah,
so we didn't have a lot of
Champions of the Spheres class, so he was their version of a fighter.
Right. So we were always kind of low on healing, so Selwyn kind of had to pick up the slack with use magic device and being able to summon unicorns.